Thank you, Leo.
Thank you, Trustee Montgomery.
Right. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. With that, Tiffany, we all good to go on your IT front?
Yes, we are ready.
Okay, perfect. With that, I call to order the February 23rd, 2023 meeting of the FGCU Board of Trustees. Our meeting is being held virtually. Note the following for the record. The meeting was duly noticed. All participants are participating virtually through Microsoft Teams. Public access has been provided through a notice web link for viewing. And the meeting notice directed any public comment on action items to be emailed to Tiffany. Tiffany, do we have any public comment?
Yes, I received 3 emailed comments.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, Tiffany, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Trustee Brannigan.
Here.
Trustee Carlin.
Present.
Trustee Donalds.
Here.
Trustee Eide.
Here.
Trustee Fogg.
Here.
Trustee Gable.
Here.
Trustee Montgomery.
Here.
Trustee Morton.
Here.
Trustee Rivera. Trustee Repsdorf.
Here.
Trustee Semrod.
Here.
Trustee Sulik.
Here.
Trustee Wynn.
Here.
Thank you. Sir, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much, Tiffany. The vote on each action item today will be conducted by a voice vote, and let's try to do our best to communicate clearly so we get an accurate record of today's proceedings. And please hit mute if you are not speaking. So with that, we will move into the heart of the matter. We have 2 information items and 2 action items today before us. This is all obviously related to the presidential search. So with that, Trustee Morton, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon to everybody. We have recently had a couple of presidential search committee meetings, one in the shade and one that was in the sunshine. And I'd like now to call on Jim and Julie to give us an information basis only. Would you cover both the update on the presidential search and the marketing plan?
Happy to. Trustee Morton, thank you for your leadership of the committee, and thanks to the members of the Board of Trustees for meeting today. We're honored to support you in the search, and we're already hard at work seeking your new president. We've walked the campus. I even had a golf court tour of the campus with President Martin when I was there last week. Enjoyed that quite a bit. And we had begun receiving suggestions for candidates, and we've been reaching out to hot prospects already. We've conducted listening sessions, virtual listening sessions, and received input from faculty and staff and students and others. And we have prepared an ad plan, a position profile, and a timeline for the search based on that input we've received and for your review today. I'd like to just quickly summarize the listening sessions because they definitely inform what we're doing in terms of the search process and also the search substance, that is what we're actually looking for substantively in a president for Florida Gulf Coast University. In terms of the process, and I'll just touch on these points very briefly and stay at a pretty high level for you, and happy to provide more detail on your request. But as to the process, there is a strong desire for both an inclusive process and an expedited process. And you'll see both of these attributes reflected in the search timeline that you'll be looking at later in this meeting. I would note also, I think it's table stakes, but it's also a compliant process, compliant with state law and Board of Governors regulations on presidential searches. I think that goes without saying, but I think it's important to note that the process reflects those standards. in a more substantive way, we heard about challenges there at the university that the new president will face, but we also heard a lot about opportunities. And of course, that's where we choose to focus our efforts when we're out recruiting candidates on your behalf. Opportunities for philanthropic growth, stronger community relations, an opportunity to build on the demographic diversity of the university and your emerging HSI status, your mission, proudly held mission of a comprehensive regional university, the opportunity to strengthen scholarship and undergraduate research in selected areas where you can lead competitively. Service learning is another tremendous opportunity to grow an attribute of the campus there. And goes without saying that your unique and really beautiful location, the newness of the campus itself, is very impressive. President Martin also noted, as he and I were cruising in his golf cart last week, how many of the buildings are already named. That's really significant. A campus as young as yours usually has building 1, building 2, building 3. Not so at Florida Gulf Coast. Those are named buildings, and that says a lot about the local community support for the university. So I think there are tremendous opportunities that the new president can build on. We also learned what members of the community were seeking in terms of skills and experience and personal characteristics in the new president. And all of this input from these sessions informed the marketing plan that I'll review in just a moment. And they also helped us update the position profile, which again, we'll go through in just a moment here. And with all of that, I think we feel very confident in our ability to support the Presidential Search Advisory Committee and you in attracting high quality candidates for your review and selection as your next president. Let me move on with your permission, Chair Morton, to talk about the marketing plan. You have as a tab in the package for the meeting, you have where we plan to place the advertisement for this position. I would note that we generally, it's been our experience, and I suspect in yours as well, that ads they're important because they let the community know about this opportunity. Typically, though, it's not the best way to get the top candidates. It's essentially, it's something we must do, really. But it's really through nominations and suggestions, references, and also through our own process of market segmentation, a much more strategic and targeted process that we get the top candidates. Nevertheless, we do recommend marketing the opportunity in these publications. They cover the full scope of higher education media where people are looking for positions. We also have an ad, and the content of this ad really is summarized from content that is in the position profile. So I don't know, Mr. Chairman, whether you would like to take action on the action item. Oh, well, actually, that's not an action item. So Chair Morton, do you have anything else to say before I hop into the leadership profile, which does require approval?
It takes me a second to unmute myself on my phone. The sole comment that I made to Jim was how to market this particular search. I myself am dependent upon people who are experts, who understand the intricacies of marketing a position like this and which publications to use, and I deferred to Jim and Julie's judgment. That's the sole comment I would make regarding these two items.
Mr. Chairman, if you would like me to proceed, or do you want to provide an opportunity for questions or comments from the board?
if there are any questions, now's the time to ask them on the two informational items, please.
Yeah, I'm looking at the screen. I don't see anybody with any questions.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead,
Yep,
Jim?
take it away, Ed.
Take us through the two action items, which is the profile and the timeline.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Morton. So the leadership profile, very important document. And we've had the pleasure of updating it with guidance from the Presidential Search Advisory Committee and with great help from the marketing team there at FGCU. In terms of the appearance of the profile, we've freshened up a bit with some new visuals, and that's an easy thing to do given how beautiful your campus and your region is. In terms of substance, we've really maintained most of the substance from the previous version of the profile with which you're familiar. We did add in the mission of the university, the values of the university. Those are important. Those have been included now. We have added links to the college websites as opposed to having lots and lots of text about each of the colleges that comprise the university. There are now live links, so people can head right over to the to more information about the particular college there at the university they're interested in exploring. Trustee Ides, at his recommendation, we've added in a couple of additional facts, fast facts. In particular, one that addresses the very high percentage of students there who work part-time, so over 90%, which is actually a very good statistic, but it also says a lot about the demographics of the student population. The research does say that as long as they're not working more than, say, 20-ish hours a week, the research says that actually students succeed better as students if they're working some while they're studying there at the university. And we also made some other editorial changes with, again, guidance from the committee that will help us recruit effectively for this important leadership position there in Florida. So those are my comments about the profile.
Jim, you're muted.
Jim, you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. When did
The
I?
last 15 things there.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, I provided a high-level overview on the assumption that you've had the opportunity to look at the document. But if you have any questions or comments, all ears. And then, of course, any member of the Presidential Search Advisory Committee may want to weigh in on some of the guidance that they provided us.
Oh, this is Ed. If everyone can hear me, I think I'm unmuted. Am I unmuted, Tiffany?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ed, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I think the comments made during the search committee, especially by Lewis, who's not with us today, was that we need to be very conscious in developing the profile of all of the various stakeholders who will be involved in not only reviewing but approving this process. And I think the committee did a very good job in massaging a couple of the points, the results of which you can see clearly demonstrated in the document. I believe we were unanimous in our support of this particular document. We did have a couple of spirited points of view that I thought were ably worked through, and totally supportive of the profile as it's currently presented.
Any questions from anybody?
If none, why don't we move ahead to the timer?
Hold on one second. Ed V, can we do this in one vote or do we need two separate votes? Is V not on?
I'm on. We would need separate votes for each item.
Okay, so let's go ahead and knock the first one out, Trustee Morton.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for approval of the leadership profile.
I
Second.
will second. I think you called the question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Seconded by Trustee Nguyen. Okay.
We
Is
have
there any-
public.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's go into that, Tiffany. Sorry,
Thank
Trustee
you.
Morton. Trying to juggle this the best we can.
I received 3 public comments in regard to the leadership profile, and I'll read those now for the record. The first comes from Mackenzie Verna. Hello, as the BOT finalizes the leadership profile today, I would like to humbly ask them to keep FGCU's mission in mind. What made me and many others fall in love with this university was not just its goal of turning ideas into impact, but through doing so via sustainability, education, equity, and philanthropy, rather than exclusion and hostile competition. The school's immense trove of academic, professional, and environmental resources, along with sustainable infrastructure built in senses both literal and communal, makes it unique amongst the country's universities. Thus, I believe it critical for FGCU's 5th president to be capable of and willing to uphold these goals. Having read through the leadership profile draft, I feel that both Greenwood Asher and Associates and FGCU University Marketing Communications clearly understand FGCU's goals and needs whilst listening intently to student and faculty input. The profile is well constructed, and whilst I'm sure there are tweaks to be made, I strongly believe that nothing needs to be removed. The profile asks for an experienced academic professional who will commit to sustainability, research, critical thinking, student-based learning, diversity and equity, philanthropy, and fostering a university where students leave as well-rounded leaders who are capable of taking care of themselves and their communities. As we live through times of extreme pushback against any step forward, FGCU looks like it may become the trailblazer for a bright future in more ways than one. I ask we don't lose sight of this, lest we end up clipping the university's wings before it can even take flight. Our next comment is from Alexia Planky. As a student and a colloquium naturalist, it is important that the committee selects a presidential candidate that promotes sustainability within FGCU. Our school is slowly starting to lose its name of sustainability by continuing practices that do not promote our goal. As an environmental studies student, going to FGCU is very important to me because of the natural landscapes, biodiversity, and sustainable aspects. I think it is amazing how our school was built with the aspects of sustainability and preserving as much of our natural ecosystems. We have already come so much further than other universities, so why regress? When choosing a new president who represents our whole university, it is important that these candidates have sustainability in mind and want to continue within our main focus. Shifting the focus of the campus could be very discouraging for students. For those like me who have grown to love these aspects of FGCU, it would be hard to deal with these negative changes. I have heard from many colloquium students that the class has changed their perspective and has even taught them new important things that they would have never known without taking the class. It is important for us to continue to educate our students on these important topics. Sustainability is important to learn about and practice now and for future generations. I hope that our board chooses the right presidential candidate. We students are counting on you to make the right decision. Please do not fail us. Our final comment comes from Rory Cushion. Good afternoon to the Board of Trustees. My name is Rory Cushion and I am a senior at FGCU. I'm writing to ensure this committee selects a president with the characteristics and experience, also called a leadership profile, who will properly represent FGCU's values. In a recent survey conducted on campus, students were asked what FGCU's identity is. From the results, 45% of students said sustainability, environment, nature was our school's identity. 18% said class size, 10% said campus, and 8% said opportunities. Ms. Brannigan has this data and has expressed a willingness to share it. It will back up my claims. Students recognize our university as a small, sustainable school with opportunities for personal growth. I believe, as many students do, our next president must have a comprehensive understanding of sustainability for the continual improvement and advancement of sustainability concepts across campus. As the effects of Hurricane Ian continue to plague our Southwest Florida community, this committee needs to ensure the new president understands the importance of addressing sustainability and climate change across campus. Leaders don't shy away from issues, they face them. Please make sure our next leader is a man or woman who is not afraid of following through on their commitments. Thank you. That concludes our public comment.
We have a motion and it's been seconded. Trustee Morton, I think we can probably call for a vote.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. On to the
Want to proceed with the timeline, Blake?
Yeah.
yes, sir. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, thanks very much, Chair Gable. Before leaving the profile, I do want to express appreciation to Trustee Brannigan for comments, constructive comments that she made. She improved it as well. So thanks to students and to the student trustee for her help. Appreciate it. On to the timeline. The Presidential Search Advisory Committee has expressed a strong interest in an expedited process. Based on our experience as a firm with searches that are expedited yet are still thorough and still inclusive, we've worked with the committee to develop a schedule that is before you. Much has been done already. In fact, as I was preparing for the meeting today, I went down the first page and we're about 2/3 done with the first page already. And I would note that we are already in the market. So, informally out there talking with candidates. The next milestone in the timeline is a meeting we call the candidate review, a critically important meeting of the search committee, March 24th, when the committee will decide after a presentation of each and every candidate, which candidates the committee would like to learn more about through an interview. Subsequently, on April 4th through the 6th, there would be those interviews. And at that point, the committee would decide whom they want to refer on to the Board of Trustees, to this body, and to public review, public vetting, referencing, and other forms of vetting. That commences a public process, including public forums, etc. There in April and in May. And then it would be this body, the Board of Trustees, that would conduct the final interviews and then refer on the president-elect to the Board of Governors on May 10th. That is an expedited schedule. Again, we have had experience doing it. If we can stay on track, I think we'll succeed. We do have the contingency here so that if something slips, we don't believe it will, but if it does slip, then there's always moving out to the right in the timeline and submitting the president-elect to the Board of Governors at its June meeting. So that basically is the timeline. And any questions or comments?
Trustee Ivey, please.
Yes, the one key date that is missing from the written timeline that I'm looking at is the day the portal opens, when those of us who have to actually review these can start to work. What date is that?
That will be roughly 2 weeks prior to the candidate review. So I'd say very close to, no pun intended, the Ides of March.
That would be 9 days before.
Yeah, so
How
right in
about
there,
March 10th? I mean,
we can certainly do March.
Jim, the problem is simple from our point of view. The more candidates you put forward, the greater strain that puts on us to get all this stuff read and make our own judgments about a top 5 or top 3, whatever you want submitted.
Absolutely. We will do that,
Yeah,
Trustee Heidi.
I mean, if you're already starting to include some candidates that appear to want to join the beauty contest here, why don't we open the portal even sooner than that so we can start to knock off some of these CVs and letters of intent?
Trustee Heidi, we can open up the portal, confidential portal, to members of the search committee anytime. So we can do that. Understand, however, that we'll be adding to the portal as we go, probably running all the way up to, we're very close to anyway, that candidate review meeting. But yes, we can certainly do that.
We already got waterboarded in that particular way last summer, so we know how to do that.
Very good.
To keep a rolling review of the people we're looking at.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Happy to do that.
So let's do an earlier date, and let's set that date.
Thank you. Trustee Brannigan.
I agree with Trustee Heidi. It's easier for me to review them as they come in, or as close to as they come in as I can, rather than try to review them all at once. I have, class, and other people have work and stuff. So I think it's easier for me to be like, oh, 2 people applied today. I'll read those 2 today,
So, well, thank you. We can open up early next week, say Monday, and we will communicate directly to members of the search committee how to gain access, confidential access to the portal. Thank you.
Perfect.
Done.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
This is Trustee
Please,
Montgomery.
Trustee Montgomery.
The April 4th meeting, the semifinalist interviews, will that meeting be open to the public or to trustees who are not members of the committee? Will that be available or open to them for observation?
No.
It will not be. It's only open to members of the Presidential Search Advisory Committee. The final interviews certainly would be conducted by this body, and those would be public. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Trustee Repsdorf.
Yes. Will Tiffany be sending out to all the trustees when we can gain access, knowing that we're still under that confidential, or will we sign a new confidential for the trustees that's not a member of the advisory, so we can look at them on the portal?
Thank you, Trustee Repsdorf. I will have Jim and Julie reach out to the Board of Trustees individually to give you your specific credentials to access the portal.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tiffany. And V, this is a question. I'm assuming all the trustees are still covered by the confidentiality agreement we signed last year.
That's correct. There is no need for an additional agreement.
That is perfect. Thank you. Any other questions from trustees? Okay.
Trustee Gable, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
I
Trustee
was just
Wynn.
going to ask, with respect to finalizing the date for interviews the week of May 1st, I just want to make sure that we have some close collaboration. I know that not everyone will be able to be in town, but just to make sure that no one's on a plane at the very specific time that it's being conducted, so that we have as much of 100% participation as possible. Traveling that week, so I'm obviously being a little bit sensitive to it, but I can pretty much jump on a virtual call in a lot of different ways as long as I'm not physically in the air.
Very good.
So Tiffany, why don't we, Tiffany, let's go ahead and see if we can lock down that date by the end of this week, today or tomorrow, so we can give all the trustees plenty of notice.
Yes, I will send a poll to the group. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good point, Trustee Wynn.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We need a motion. Trustee Morton, I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling here. We need a motion for approval of the timeline for the search.
I will
So
move.
moved.
Okay, I heard Trustee Fogg with a motion and Trustee Wynn with a second. Everyone was very eager, clearly, to end this call. So, Tiffany, is there any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Wonderful. Trustee Morton, thank you for all your efforts, and I would like to thank all the members of the search committee, as well as you, Jim and Julie, for your efforts in moving expeditiously to get us moving forward. With this, we are officially off and running. So with that, is there any old business to come before the board? Any new?
Chairman Gable, I think we should
Yes, sir.
congratulate Dick Idy on getting reappointed.
Oh, thank you very much, Trustee Sula.
Thank you.
Yes, as you all know, yesterday,
What would we do without him?
Well, I'll tell you, I was watching the meeting and it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, but he squeaked through and we get Trustee Idy for another 5 years. So
I'll tell you one thing, it's a lot harder to get reappointed than it is appointed the first time.
Well, we completely believe that, Dick.
that is certainly the case.
Yeah.
So, okay, with that, I think that we are done. So Tiffany, let's go ahead and get this date squared away in May. And with that, sorry. Trustee Brannigan.
Grace.
Sorry, I just thought I'd let everyone know that this is my last meeting. I am off the Board of Trustees on April 1st when I leave office. So this is my last meeting. And the next time you see a student, unfortunately, it won't be me. Although do know that I will come out of retirement to make public comment on the finalist meeting. But yeah, today, this is my last one. So thanks, everybody. I really appreciate everybody's effort and time with me.
You are going
Grace,
to be missed.
You will be missed, but you're going to stay with the search committee, right? Okay.
Yes. So Grace, sorry, that's an oversight on my part. I thought for some reason you had one more, but it's been great having you, Grace. You have been a phenomenal addition to the board. And you'll get to come back and we'll read some nice resolution about how great you are at one of our next meetings. So, okay. With that, everybody, thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.